Today, we're diving into something that's honestly kind of hard to wrap your head around. We're breaking down one of the most heavily discussed, unsettling topics in recent memory, the newly unsealed Epstein Files. Now, we aren't here to sensationalize any of this. We're literally just going straight to the source material to figure out exactly how this massive, dark empire was actually built. How did it operate? And, maybe most importantly, how was it protected for so long? We're going to look at the real mechanics of power, the architecture of blackmail, and this terrifying illusion of untouchability. It's a really heavy topic for sure, but understanding how this structure actually worked is absolutely crucial. To really grasp the gravity of this, you have to look at the sheer scale of the evidence. 3 million. That is the number of pages of documents that have been released. And that's alongside something like 180,000 photographs and over 2,000 videos. To put that into perspective, that brilliantly and terrifyingly illustrates that this was not just the work of one isolated criminal. The staggering volume of data proves we're looking at an entire structured, operational business blackmail. It was basically a well-oiled machine completely designed to capture the darkest secrets of the world's most powerful people. Okay, let's dive into this timeline because his ascent simply defies logic. I mean, it's wild. Jeffrey Epstein was born in 1953 into a totally normal middle-class family. His dad was actually a groundskeeper. He was a smart guy, a math prodigy, but he actually ended up dropping out of college. Yet somehow, in 1974, despite having literally no degree, he lands a job teaching math at this highly prestigious New York school. He gets fired 2 years later, but instead of his career taking a hit, he goes straight to Wall Street. It's a total anomaly. With absolutely zero financial background, he joins Bear Stearns and quickly makes partner. Why? Because he mastered something these guys desperately wanted: tax evasion for the ultra-wealthy. By the 1980s, he starts his own firm with this crazy, strict rule. He would only manage money for clients with $4 billion. So, to service and ultimately control this network of billionaires, he needed serious infrastructure. And that brings us to his private jet, a Boeing 727 that he mockingly called the Lolita Express. On the surface, it's exactly what you'd expect: a luxury aircraft filled with premium amenities, massive beds, the whole shebang. But the dark reality, it wasn't just a plane. It was a mobile recording studio designed to isolate powerful figures at 30,000 feet. It was completely rigged with hidden cameras. It was a flying trap. And the fact that he named it after a novel about a man's illicit obsession with a young girl, it's almost like this open, mocking challenge to the world. He was gathering unbelievable leverage while his guests were totally cut off from the ground. Now, the flight logs from that plane have been made public, and they reveal a stunning, bipartisan, and cross-disciplinary list of passengers. The files impartially report associations with former U.S. presidents like Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, British royalty like Prince Andrew, and even massive cultural and scientific icons. We're talking Michael Jackson and Stephen Hawking. Now, to be clear, the files don't automatically state what every single person did, but they really show how he operated. The big takeaway here isn't just about who flew on the plane, but why he wanted them there in the first place. He hoarded these associations. Having the greatest scientific minds and political leaders on his logs, that was his ultimate insurance policy. It sent a very clear message: if I go down, the world's elite go down with me. But as crazy as the plane was, the control he exerted in the sky was nothing compared to his private Caribbean island. This island was basically the capital of his dark empire, and it operated under some incredibly strict rules. The second he landed, this rigid island protocol went into effect. Every single VIP guest had their mobile phone immediately confiscated, and this wasn't just about protecting people's privacy. It was entirely about control. Think about it. This protocol stripped some of the most powerful people on Earth of their connection to the outside world, pulling them completely into his isolated web, where his rules were literally the only laws. Once guests were actually on the island, they were greeted by this bizarre architectural anomaly. There was this central building, painted with blue stripes, which people often called the Blue Temple. From the outside, it looked like a mysterious but otherwise totally normal structure with windows. But those windows? Complete illusion. They were literally just painted onto solid walls. And the source material reveals the chilling reason for this setup. The building was specifically designed so that absolutely no sounds could ever escape from the inside. To further protect the identities of his VIP guests, Epstein enforced this bizarre, incredibly strict rule for the island staff. It was known as the no eye contact rule. If any worker on that island ever looked a VIP guest in the eye, they were fired. Immediately. The staff were essentially forced to act completely invisible. and this ensured that the elite guests could operate in total secrecy, confident that the help couldn't even visually identify them. It just further fed into this terrifying illusion that these people were completely untouchable. So we have to talk about what actually happened on that island, and we need to approach this with the somber restraint that it absolutely requires. Because beneath that blue temple and those fake painted windows were massive, secret underground basements. The source files detail a truly horrifying reality where vulnerable minors, some as young as 10 years old, were held captive. The source material chillingly compares the whole setup to something out of the show Squid Game, where the elite sit back in luxury while the vulnerable suffer below. It was an absolute nightmare. And crucially for his business model, hidden cameras captured every single moment, building up his ultimate arsenal of blackmail. But, even the strongest illusions eventually crack. And for this empire, that happened in 2005. It didn't start with a massive FBI sting or the CIA. It started with one incredibly brave mother of a 14-year-old victim in Palm Beach who decided to go to the police. Just one single complaint. And that triggered a raid on his home. During that raid, authorities uncovered hidden cameras, thousands of photographs of VIPs, and a list of underage victims. For any normal person, this would have been it. Game over. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the justice system actually responded to all of this. You see the reality of his crimes. He was facing severe, life-altering charges. He should have been put away forever. But instead, we see the true power of that insurance policy we talked about. In 2008, he weaponized his high-powered connections and top-tier lawyers to secure this shocking, totally secret sweetheart deal with the government. He got a mere 13-month sentence. And it gets even crazier, he served it in what basically amounted to a luxury jail wing. Plus, he was allowed to literally leave the prison every single day to go to his office and conduct business. The system he held leverage over essentially bought his silence. However, that kind of immunity doesn't last forever. Fast forward to July 2019. Stepping off a private jet from Paris, he is finally arrested by the FBI. This time, they raid his New York home and uncover a massive safe locker. Inside, his ultimate emergency escape stash. We're talking dozens of fake passports, millions of dollars in loose diamonds and gold, and even more secret VIP photographs. But things were different this time. The very same powerful friends he spent decades collecting to protect him, they completely ghosted him. He had become way too radioactive, and he was thrown into a high-security prison. And that brings us to the highly suspicious sequence of events on the night of August 10, 2019. Just think about this for a second. He is in a maximum security prison, a facility where supposedly not even an ant could escape. Yet, look at these overlapping events. First, the high security cameras pointing directly at his cell just mysteriously fail. Second, the two guards, whose specific duty was to check on him every 30 minutes, they somehow both fall asleep at the exact same time. And third, he's found dead in his cell. The sheer convenient absurdity of these coincidences in a top-tier federal facility. Well, the source material points out that it's practically unbelievable. Now, obviously, the official narrative is suicide, but even the people closest to him doubt that story. Take a look at this quote from Ghislaine Maxwell. The source describes her as the shadow architect of his empire, the woman who procured victims and basically managed the whole operation. In a recent interview, she just plainly stated, "I don't believe he committed suicide." I mean, when the absolute closest accomplice to the crimes doesn't even buy the official story, it really just pours gasoline on the mystery surrounding his sudden death. And as you've probably seen, that mystery has spawned some massive internet theories, which the source material actually addresses. If you look at living photos of him, you can see his very distinct facial structure, and specifically his ear shape. But when people compared that to the released autopsy photo, well, many observers started pointing out some deep anatomical inconsistencies. The shape of the ears just looked different. And this anomaly has absolutely fueled theories that the corpse in the photo wasn't actually him. People are convinced he was smuggled out, maybe through a witness protection program, or got plastic surgery and is just living out his days in some secure location somewhere. Which leaves us with this final lingering thought. Based on everything we've unpacked today from these source documents, the immense, untouchable power he wielded, the billions of dollars at his disposal, the fake passports, and the absolutely bizarre circumstances of his final night, we literally have to ask, did he truly die in that cell? Or was the ultimate blackmailer still hiding out there in the shadows? Thank you so much for exploring these files with me today. Diving into the source material and searching for the truth is always worth the effort.